I'm the first one that heard me say that. Yeah, that's a good thing. But there's this guy named Rocco Errico. You any heard of him? Yeah, he's really something, isn't he? Dude's a scholar, a biblical scholar. And he speaks and writes in Aramaic. Aramaic is the original language that Jesus spoke back in the days. I think Rocco was actually, Rocco, hey, Jesus, I'll take care of you, man. I actually heard him do the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. Wow, what a nice language that is. Yeah, it was very cool. I felt a little uplifted. He's a world-renowned Bible. He talked about Jesus, and he also said, we are God's chips off the old block. I guess he had a better marketing team than I did. Another way to look at that, and this one goes out to you, Reverend Judy, Rumi. We are more than just single drops of water. We are the ocean of wonder, magnificence, and majesty, and we present that out as our magnificent lives. And back to me, we are all that. We do, as drops of water in the ocean, we have all of what the ocean has in us. We're just not the ocean. But we've got it all in us, and that's important to remember. So however you visualize it, whatever it is that works for you, can we agree this morning that we are individually and collectively the face and the body of creation itself? Thank you. My work here is done. If we live and move and have our being in God, then it makes sense that God is living and moving and have its being in us and as us, and that's how we present, right? So if we take us out of the picture, we can see that all thoughts, ideas, all art, all songs, inspiration, creativity, musings, flashes of brilliance, they come to us from divine mind. I also expect that love, compassion, and beauty come from the same place. That's like one-stop shopping. Everything you need. Okay, so there's one of us. We are as that is. We are as Gus is. Remember Gus? Some people call it God. Some people call it universe. Some people call it spirit. G-U-S, Gus. We are Gus. We vibrate at the level of Gus as we are able to accept what that is. Reminds me of a Beach Boys song. Gus, 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 Gus vibration. But as humans, the physical beings that we are, we each vibrate at different frequencies, and we view the world through different filters. We're artists, we're parents, we're musicians, teachers, metaphysicians, CPAs. It is through this framework that we have all these different ways to express ourselves, to express Gus. It all starts with this thing called an idea. There's a guy by the name of Robin Sharman. He wrote a book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Everything happens twice. I know we've heard this in various themes. First in thought, and then in reality. Our thoughts create our reality. We think thoughts, and we experience what we think because the universe has one answer. Yes. Bingo. Gold star for faith. Woo! That is the answer. Yes, for those at home, the answer the universe always gives us is yes. And we also have to remember that it's both our conscious mind and our unconscious mind that is creating. So we are creating whether we want to or not. I didn't really want that. Yeah, but you must have thought it somewhere. Because there it is. Always creating, always saying yes. Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're always going to be right because you create that. And I love this quote by Ernest Holmes. If we believe that it will not work, it really works by appearing to not work. Right? So we make our statement, we state our belief, and the universe has one answer.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to spread this out a little bit. There's two parts of this. There's what we do on purpose, and there's what we're guided to do. What we do on purpose is what we, the person, consciously does. We have a thought, we have an idea, we decide to do something, we put a plan together, and we execute. Then there's this other part that we are guided to do this, and that is brought to us by intuition, or what I call the muse. Here's a teaser. I'm going to talk about that later, give it a third name. Can we separate thoughts from ideas? Is there really any kind of a difference? Where do they come from? They come from wherever they are. Do they come from a past life? Do they come from Gus? Maybe they're hanging out in aisle 6 at the thought section, waiting for us to pick them up. Any way you look at it, we probably do not create the original thought. Original thought. There's an idea for another talk. I'm sorry about that. Good morning, Josh. How are you, man? There have been times when I've noticed a thought, an idea, or a direction, maybe just that little bit of guidance, just kind of float back me as I'm getting ready for doing something. I peripherally notice these thoughts, barely. Maybe just like a passing, how you doing, nod of awareness. But for whatever reason at the time, I didn't respond. The message might have been as simple as grabbing an extra water bottle. Or maybe, I should pick up some tomatoes. It could be as serious as something else gets in the way of visiting a sick friend and finding out later, I don't really want to go there, but we've all heard these examples. And not that I'm keeping score, but I am aware that most of those intuitive nudges, most of those are right, more often than not. Thank you. Thank you very much. Vodka? Thank you, Diane. There you go. When we become aware of these inklings, what's the best thing to do? Thank you. Say yes, right? And that's okay, you said it over here. In my opinion, these are always right. And because Gus is always right and we are always being guided, we can't really ever be guided wrong. Where do you receive your messages? There you go. Diane does like this. Yeah, I don't mean in the garage. I mean where in your body do you receive them? When you get those inklings and nigglings, whatever, how often do you actually listen to them? Most of us. Yeah, that's something to really start paying attention to as you want to be more conscious. Find your way through this world as part of all that is. We want to go there. And when you get them, do you like crawl up in your brain and try and figure it out? Oh yeah, this means this means the other thing. Sometimes the message delivered very clearly is 100% counterintuitive. Is 100% counter actually intuitive? Never mind. So it's counterintuitive. You say, that can't be right. But it is. Often. And when we listen and when we respond to our intuitive nudges, we actually dance with creation itself. There's this great story told by Elizabeth Gilbert. She was interviewing this woman, a poet, and she says that, I can sense this idea coming at me like a cloud. And I have to hurry up and go write it down, because if I don't, it's going to pass through me. And it's going to go find somebody else. It'll be gone forever. That happens to me all the time. Not the cloud, but, thinking, and I got to write this down. That's what phones are good for. Pay attention to the inklings. What that also means to me is that because she is getting that, and we're not always all the time being bombarded by all of these messages, it speaks to the point that we vibrate on different levels. Even though we are all one, we all hear things and feel things differently. And everything that comes to us is for us personally. It is only for me that I get my messages. And you know that because you hear it. We have a number of musicians here, and we're all completely different. Because even though we hang out in that same space, we hear and feel those vibrations differently. You got Rick here. He hears the vibration of music. Karen, creativity, art. Kathy and Tony, very creative with the food that we have in the back. Reverend Alice, she stands up here with really only a half idea what she wants to, she said that, I didn't just make that up. But she stands up here open and allows Spirit to be her voice, to be her message. She is the conduit for the message, and she listens, and we love the way she speaks. So I was going to share a personal example. Becoming a coach wasn't really part of my plans. Quite honestly, I didn't have a plan. I was just doing what I was doing. But I must have been open, because the process by which that happened, it's almost like it happened without me. I found myself, of course, I started saying yes to stuff. A few years ago, I started this thing, well, anything that comes my way, say yes, which is kind of why I'm here today. But I started that, and so I was at this talk, and there was a card on the chair, and I said yes to the card, and I filled it out, and I sent it in. I said yes to the conversation. I actually showed up for the conversation. Then, through that discussion, something pulled me to say yes, and so I signed up with this coach. A few lessons in, a few sessions in, I had this realization, plain as day, coaching is my next step. Coaching is what I want to do. It wasn't, and boom, I said that. I forgot to say I said yes to the money to the coaching, and that's brand new for me to do that. But I was paying attention to no more than just the next logical step. The next thing you know, I made a decision, and I had a front row seat to what Ralph Waldo Emerson always says: when you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen for you. And everything just fell into place like dominoes. School showed up, some money showed up. I even ended up with some time to study. Everything cleared up. You know why? I said yes. Of course, after everything's given to me, I have to actually do the work. In practitioner class, we learned treat, but you have to move your feet. So we did that. And of course, I wanted to understand what I'm trying to do. It's also better to actively participate in what it is that you're doing. It is your life. Enjoy it. Play full out. It's a lot more fun when you do. And everything seems to work a little bit better. In my opinion, the sports world has some of the best examples of showing up in the face and body of creation itself. Sports fans? A couple of them? And we hear about these guys, they get into the zone. The announcers say, hey, he was unconscious. Yeah, he's still out there running around. But he's in the flow. He's done the work. He's put himself aside, and he's decided that he's just going to let God flow through him. And that is when you become a conduit for a transformational experience. It's God showing up as us. I expect a lot of you have had that experience. There's this great story about Sir Laurence Olivier, that he did this play and absolutely nailed it. It was transcendent. And he went backstage and he's kicking things and throwing stuff and swearing and everything. What's wrong with you? You just nailed that. That was amazing. He goes, I know. I don't know how I did it, and I'm not going to be able to do it again. He was open to that flow. When I coach, I invite Spirit in to hang out. How you doing? Let's play. Because when I'm present and I'm in the game, I get what I call intuitive hits. And these show me how best to work with my clients. In fact, it's not me doing the work. It's actually easier for me when I don't. I just step by and I let, would Ralph Waldo Emerson say, get your bloated nothingness out of the way? So I just say, thank you, come on, I will be your conduit and make this work. From the textbook, the will of God is always towards that which expresses life and happiness. To suppose that the will of God could be in opposition to the advancement of our lives would be to think of spirit as being self-destructive. God can't be in opposition to itself. There's a great line from the Course in Miracles that says, it's been said that the opposite of love is fear, but that which is all-encompassing can't have an opposite. So if there is only that one thing, how can there be anything else? There is only love, and it is always seeking self-expression through us and will never deny us anything. And remember back, sometimes our thoughts are unconscious, but we get what we ask for. It's almost like a computer. Don't you hate them? They always give you what you ask for, never what you want. I got this story about this guy, Jason, walking down the beach, sees the lamp in the sand dune, picks it up, rubs it off. The genie comes out. It is my honor, thank you for freeing me from the lamp, it is my honor to give you 3 wishes. What would you like? Jason goes up, oh, this is great. I'd like to be rich. And the genie says, okay, Rich, what are your next 2 wishes? So be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. There's this idea about having genius versus being genius. We've come to accept genius as a person who has certain qualities, certain creativity, certain intellectual qualities. But way back in the 14th century, genius was a guardian or protective moral spirit who guides and governs an individual through life. It was a thing. It was out there, like Dobby. Is that Harry Potter's house elf, Dobby? Yeah. It suggests that we are not geniuses, but that we are visited by this feeling that we call genius. It's not us. It's just visiting us. And then some few hundred years ago, psychologists decided that we are geniuses. And that's when we started to see what I call the tortured soul syndrome. Because if we have genius, we're not solely responsible for what happens. But if we are genius, then it's all on us. And isn't that a huge responsibility? It's all me or nothing. Most equate genius with intelligence and creativity. Many with the arts. But everybody has genius. Everybody. Everybody is creative. I don't care who you are or what you do. You are creative in your way. Albert Einstein says, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. So let us be open to what our muse says to us. We have to listen to them. You don't have to do anything. We can listen to these messages, and they will always guide us in our best direction. Say yes to the genius. So let's say we do our work, and it's going to take some work because we have a lot of untraining and retraining to do. And we get really good at saying yes. Just as an aside, when I started saying yes, my life started falling into place. It's still falling, but. So I have this theory. We've decided we're all one as that is. But we all have our own space. There's kind of 2, maybe 1.5. And the thing that is over here in us is what we call our ego. Think of the ego as a sentient being. As that, its sole purpose in life is survival. That's all. Don't take it personal. We also call it the roommate, the chatter, gremlins. It's the voices in our head. When we say yes to Spirit, when we embark on anything that raises our level of soulness to get us closer to the oneness of the Spirit that we really are, that's not good for the ego. And the ego say, yeah, you're not going up there. Come on back down here with me. Don't take it personal. He's just trying to survive. Once I got this, when I started feeling that resistance, it was easier for me to move around it. Thanks, man, we're good. I don't need you here right now. And there is a safety thing, and there's a lot of history behind your gremlins and your roommates. But when you're trying to become a better version of yourself, that resistance is trying to keep you from that just because it wants to live. I have some lists, just so you can have some awareness of the little things that insidiously show up to keep you from your best self. Anytime you're about to pursue writing, painting, film, dance, any creative art, there's going to be a little voice in the head and say, you can't do that. What do you think you are? You can't do that. What if you're going to start a business? Whoa, what are you, crazy? Any health regimen, any diet, any program of spiritual advancement. Yeah, the ego has a good problem with that one because those two seem constantly at odds. Any activity whose aim is chiseled abs, the ego's going to say, that cookie looks really good, doesn't it? Any act that involves a commitment to the heart. What is that decision? What is best for you? And we think about all these other things. Ego versus soul. Listen to your heart, Tom Petty. And taking the principled stand in the face of adversity, which oftentimes is not the easiest choice, but it's what's good for the soul. And we can probably think of times when I should have done this, and for whatever reason, I didn't. And don't you just feel a little bit more like this? We don't want to feel like this. This is not the world I want to live in. You know, I want to live in this kind of world. So what I call also the ego is the little s self, the human self. And what I'd like to do now, I think we have a couple minutes, is try a quick visioning. The subtle difference between visualization and visioning. Visualization is when you decide you want something and you own it and you picture it and you put it up there and you feed yourself into it and look to make it happen. It was just a powerful process, by the way. Visioning is when we get quiet and listen to messages. Okay? So, if you like, grab a piece of paper. There seems to be a lot of extra pieces of paper around today. Something to write with, or you can use your phone, or you don't have to do anything. Just sit and be in the process. I'm going to take a minute and get centered. Feel yourself in this moment. Feel yourself connected, viscerally connected to all that is. For me, I feel it in my body. I know that I'm connected to the one that is. So connected, take a breath, embrace it, bring it in, take it in. It's all good. Know that you are as divine energy is. It is who you are. First question. What is Spirit's highest vision for me, my life? What wants to emerge as me? Listen. Listen. however insane it is, write it down. Who must I become to manifest this vision? What qualities must I cultivate so that I am ready? I'm the fertile soil through which this vision can grow. What must I let go to bring this vision into being? We need space to welcome it. What strengths, capacities, and talents do I already possess to bring this vision into being a reality? What do I already have that will help bring this out? Last question. Ask Spirit, is there anything else that I need to know? So when you're ready, welcome back to the room. Any surprises? Good. Can you see yourself saying yes? But of course. By saying yes to your vision, by saying yes to Spirit, you are saying yes to the best and highest version of yourself. Understand that there may be some resistance. It's a new path. Your ego wants nothing to do with your spiritual growth. It's a natural thing. But now you know that. You're aware of it. And because y'all are a chip off the old block, that old block planted this idea in you. Not only planted it, but is here to support you. And that idea that you got is specifically for you. Yes, you. It's a beautiful thing. And as Spirit uses us to exemplify itself, to show off it, whatever, it's also invested in its own growth through and as us. So if Gus is personally invested in giving you ideas, is personally invested in helping these ideas to come to fruition, because that's what it does, how can you lose? I'm thinking he can't, because Gus will never steer us wrong. Go for it. Embrace your vision. Say yes. Try it. Say yes. Yes. Say it like you mean it. Yes. There you go. You got this. So it is. Thank you.